John.
All right, I'd like to open our regularly scheduled Board of Finance meeting for Wednesday, January 14th. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, public comments, seeing nobody in the room but us and Mr. Lucas. I think we can move on, unless, John, you want to have some words to say? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Communications and correspondence.
We had 5. Mike Einzig, Matt Grimes, Caroline Cowles, Andy Correa, and Robert Bishop.
Perfect. Approval of the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the December 10th, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
All in favor, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, Mr. Steve, you're up.
I'll try to keep it short. Budgets from our departments are due to us, Marcia and I, by Friday. We've already received a couple. We're going to be going through those with each of the departments. We're now scheduling meetings for the Board of Selectmen to meet with departments in February. We're not going to do every single department. We're going to do the big ones that have changes or have big changes in their budgets.
We don't want that. We want just what you present to us.
Right.
Or if somebody really wants to talk to us. If you have a
Right.
department that really wants to come and do something.
Right, we're gonna do the same thing, we're gonna do the same thing, so it should be good. So you know, February is board, we have to reappoint a lot of members of new boards, right? So we're in the process of doing that. Cynthia is contacting each of the chairs and each of the members of boards to see if they wanna continue on. We are gonna default that they don't respond to reappointing them, right? Because most do. I would like to invite you all Friday, 12 noon, our organics recycling grand opening, ribbon cutting is going to happen right here in the parking lot next to the Center Fire Company. Residents in town will be able to recycle their organics. It'll be on an app. It's a very simple app, and we're using an app to stop people from just dumping stuff. It keeps track of who used it. It's entirely 100% free to our residents, or at least the first year. HRRA has arranged for the container that takes the scraps and opens up after you get on the app, and the recycling of it for free for at least the first year. We will charge a $20 fee to each resident for the management and thing, and I think we're going to get a pretty good take-up on it. I'm going to be the first person to throw stuff in there. But you're welcome, this is exciting stuff. It's exciting stuff. We had an issue at Old Town Hall with the smell. It seems on and off periodically for quite some time. There has been a very, very putrid smell at Old Town Hall. We're looking at it right now. Somewhere in the plumbing or the drains or the water supply system, but the smell is so bad, we have to address it. We can't have staff in it. I walked in and it almost wants to make you throw up from the smell. So we're working on that. Glenn and I discussed this briefly. So we had went to all of the architects who bid on doing the architectural and design work for the high school and Wisconsin Middle School for the roofs, and asked them, what would your price be if we had you design the entire Wisconsin roof in anticipation of possibly doing solar? We went to all 6 firms. They all came back with their fees, what they would charge. One is significantly less than the others. The NBC declined to review those, right? But they will handle the project. So I formed an ad hoc group within the town, composing me, Marcia, our purchasing agent, Ralph Tedesco will be on that. We invited Dan Caldwell, but he's got hurt, so he's out for a little while. He works at the schools, and we'll make a decision on which architect designer to choose in the next few days.
So you're doing that,
And then we
NBC
will
is
hand
not
it
doing-
No, and then we will hand it off to the NBC and they will take it from there. So we will tell them, okay, the town decided on XYZ firm for the design, and then NBC has agreed they will take it from there. The NBC we invited them to tonight's meeting of the Board of Finance, we were gonna hold a special Board of Selectmen meeting to get an update on CLES. I went back and looked at the ordinances. When NBC has projects, they're supposed to report back to the Board of Selectmen at least once a quarter. That has not been happening. They've been, okay, but we need to. We're getting towards the end. We wanna know where you are with the budget. When do you think this will finish? What are the outstanding issues? They will come to the February meeting of Board of Finance. So we will, with your agreement, schedule a Board of Selectmen meeting for the same night, so they don't have to make the presentation twice.
Steve, to make it clear that we have been monitoring the budget.
Oh, yeah, we've been monitoring the budget. They are not over budget yet. We do have some concerns, but you always do towards the end, right? We are getting new charging stations. That's moving a little bit slowly for free. They're giving them to us for free. We'll give you more detail. I don't have a lot of detail on that. The state legislature has passed a new housing bill, 8002. It is a massive bill. It includes massive changes to zoning laws and what we can and cannot do. As of rights for commercial developers to turn any commercial property into housing. If you have less than 16 units, you don't have to have parking, all sorts of things. We may need, Curtis Zimmerman and Laura Barkowski, our head of land use and zoning, are looking at it. We may be coming to the boards. We may have to hire someone to help us because some of this has to be implemented by July 1st, right? And we do not want developers coming in and trying to get in under the wire if we have to change our zoning, right? So we're looking at that. The Community Center Ad Hoc Committee interviewed a number of architects for the community center design. I was there, Carl was there, Bob was there, there were a number of people there. Last week they had a meeting, this week? They had a meeting and they made a determination that they're gonna hire Silver Petrocelli. They're a good organization, good firm. Their bid was about 1/3 everyone else's bids. So we had a little bit of concern there. So a number of the members of the committee, at least two, Laura Murphy, went out to, I think, 4 different projects across the state of Connecticut that Silver Petrocelli did. They got very good reviews from every single community center, senior center, similar project to our community center. The towns were very happy with the work that Silver Petrocelli did. They were responsive, they did it on time, so I think that's a win. I talked about the NBC, and that's it for me. Oh, no, 2 things. Iroquois had a hearing, the DEEP had a hearing last Thursday night where 60 some odd people each took their 3 minutes to speak before the hearing. It was a hearing, not an adjudicatory hearing. And my guess is that the only person who will listen to that at DEEP is the hearing officer who ran that hearing. We are still in court. We filed suit along with some other organizations who are working together to force DEEP to have an adjudicatory hearing. One of the primary premises we're basing that on is when you ask for a hearing, there are 2 types of hearings. Under one, you need a notarized signature to apply for the hearing. Under the other, you do not need a notarized, and DEEP has never required that for an adjudicatory hearing. All of a sudden they change the rule, no, you need notarized for both. You can't change the rule 12 years in, just because you don't want to have something. So we think they should have an adjudicatory hearing because we think that there are things like electric compressor versus natural gas. During the DEEP hearing, the Iroquois person and the DEP person made a presentation, and I'll just give you one thing. Well, the DEEP person said, the limit is 25 parts per million. And then what they're gonna put in is 9 parts per million. So that's good. And my question to them, isn't 0 better than 9? Right? Seems pretty logical to me. If you're there as DEEP to protect our environment and to protect our residents, why would you not require something that would be 0 pollutants? They're now talking of adding 25 tons of particulate matter into the air from the Brookfield station. And if I have to remind people, no Brookfield resident, no Connecticut resident gets 1 ounce of that gas. It just comes through our town and goes to New York. So we're gonna continue to pursue that. On the cell tower, Homeland Tower has filed Christmas week with the siting council. We are going to raise a number of objections with the siting council, because there's legal involved. I don't wanna get into the details, but I could talk to you individually if you wanna know what that is. We're in executive session. We think that there were some things that were done that were not proper. And that's it for me. Any questions for me?
Yeah, on the roof, we received an email today that Brian responded, so I'd like you, just to make sure you keep Brian in the loop on the roof, so there's no
Yeah, I will.
surprises at the table.
We absolutely will. I think
And I
that-
sent you the responses, so.
I saw it. Irene's looking at it a little differently than we would. All of these roof projects, we were doing in sections, right? The net total sum of that, or doing it now, you're talking the same projects.
All I need
It's a
is for,
question of
right,
timing for the roofs.
is Brian to be involved, so we have somebody that
Yeah.
when we sit here, nothing clunks on us. That
Right.
Brian's been overseeing this through the capital committee, him and his
Yeah.
committee, looking at it, analyzing it. I think Brian's response back was great. I think it was, to the
I agree.
point, and if Irene has more questions, I'm sure you'll
She can
answer them.
We'll address them, yeah.
Yeah, so I just like Brian to be in the loop. I don't think any of us have to be in the
John
loop.
Lesser on the committee too.
Yeah,
all
so
three
the,
of us spent
okay,
a lot
the
of
three of
time on
you,
these
so
yesterday.
we don't
A lot.
need to, be involved. Just keep them involved so we don't
Oh,
sit here at the
absolutely.
table and look at each other like what's going on.
Absolutely. Right now, remember, we purposely did this with Verigy. The solar for the high school, Wiskaneer, and CLAS are 3 separate projects. Because we knew Wiskaneer's roof we don't know whether we can get it done, that's why we did 3 we can drop one of them, no harm, no foul.
All we just gotta be is in place so they can analyze and figure out where it fits, the
Yep.
3 of them, and the rest of this committee.
Yep.
Because then it just flows nicely, that's all.
I agree. That's it for me, guys.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to amend our agenda to allow Chief Puglisi to come to the table and speak, right, for about the dispatchers. Did I have a second?
Yeah, I was like,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, but I don't want you sitting there a whole meeting and listening and,
glared at you.
and,
This is, Board of Finance.
okay, let me get rid of this.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Like your shirt, Chief.
I'll get stuff for us.
So, a few months ago, we came to the board after the approval of actually we came to finance after we had approval for the up to 30 hours for the part-time dispatcher to fulfill the third dispatcher on midnights, which give us 2 on each shift, which was a recommendation from the Manitou report and the Fire EMS committee, to fully staff 2 dispatchers at all times, 24 hours a day. And we thought we could do it with the 30-hour person on the midnight shift. If you scroll down a little bit. We thought we could do it with the part-time person on midnights. We weren't able to hire anybody for the schedule. This,
Make it bigger.
is this all the way to the bottom? Okay. So this is our, all right, yeah, right there. This is the current schedule for dispatcher 1 and dispatcher 2 on that, the way they're currently working. If we were to add the part-time 30-hour person, which was our plan, this is the kind of crazy schedule that we weren't able to hire somebody for. 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 2 off, and there's not really a pattern that doesn't repeat for like 60 days, the way it was, 30 days. So, before we came to Marcia and asked to, increase the hours. We figured out that we could move, the two already scheduled dispatchers to a little bit different by moving them over one and their rotation, which we need to do when their bid cycles are up. So we're not really changing days off and paying a lot of overtime, which we did. And that created a perfect schedule for another full-time person, where there would never be more than two. We only have two active consoles for the dispatchers to actually sit at. And we really don't have a need for 3 people to be working from 11 PM till 7 AM. But we do have a need for 2, and that adjustment, which shows a full-time person in that position, is ideal. We didn't budget for it. We had 30 hours, up to 30 hours in there. And in some discussions with HR, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but after a year of working 30 hours, they're entitled to some type of benefits anyway. So our plan was to request the additional hours to make them a full-time position. We've already been doing interviews for another vacancy that we have for somebody that's leaving to go to the fire department. And we have some viable candidates for this position, and as well as the vacancy that's being created. Marcia was kind enough to do the calculations for me after our meeting today, yesterday, to show how much we would need out of our budget.
So really, it's not a lot in payroll, because we had a 30-hour a week, and
And 10
they go up
hours,
to 38 hours a week on average. So just for the February 1st on, not a lot of money. Benefits are where the money is. And then because they've been trying to shuffle so much, overtime is right where it should be, but it's this straight time because they've been shuffling so much to try and cover everything, that I wanted to make it clear that this would cost 20, but we may already be in the whole 22. But we're not gonna solve the 22 until we solve the scheduling. So if we don't hire someone, we can still expect to be over budget, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
The issue with the dispatchers is that we can never, just, anytime they take a day off, any time off, it's overtime. We have to have 2 of them in there, there's only 2 scheduled to work. We don't have a position where we could have a third floater or what have you. We have per diems that we call in, which saves us a little bit of money. Unless they already work for the town, then it doesn't really save us much money. I just want the board to be clear that hiring or giving us the additional hours to fulfill the full-time person is not going to save us on overtime. There's still gonna be, anytime anybody's off, we have to backfill their position. This just gets us to 2 on every shift, 24 hours a day, to meet the recommendations from the Fire EMS committee and the Manitou recommendation, which we've already discussed. We can wait, but it's not gonna work.
So right now, it's gonna cost us 21 or 20,734. What's next year's impact?
The full salary.
That's
Full
for
salary.
5 months, so 50,000.
It's about 100.
That 100
We had
would
50
benefit.
already in, right?
60,
Because this is a
It's an
savings.
incremental.
Okay,
What is- yeah, but
because
what-
we had 50 already in.
Incremental 50.
Yeah,
Gross is 100, net is 50.
on top of the 20. No, the 20 washes out this
The
year.
20 goes
next year.
away.
yeah.
You're talking 50 right now incremental from where we stand at this
From the
point?
budget.
Correct.
From the budget.
Right.
Right.
Okay, that's what I thought I was hearing, just so I
That's
know.
right,
Yes.
yes.
So right now, if we gave 21,000 here,
That gets us through.
gets us through June, and then we'd have 50,000 over prior year budget to get us through the next year.
Right. If we included the 30 hours, which is carryover. Right. the net cost for a new person is about 100,000.
Right.
Yeah, I
The
mean, that's-
net budget difference based on this year to next year is about 50,000. More.
And I get that, so there is no savings on the overtime, it is just what it is, it's a need.
Yeah.
Well, he
Go ahead.
said there's no further savings on the overtime, but the part of this is high because overtime, we cut overtime by $750,
Mhm.
and the projections are that we'll be within 13 hours at the end of the year. So we have saved on overtime,
We've already calculated
but
this.
there
yeah.
will be no more savings on overtime.
Okay, so. Alright.
No, I think on this, the Board of Selectmen, because we're hiring somebody, I'd like them to review this and approve it, but
Mhm.
if you agree tonight,
Right.
we'll move that forward.
Les, your thoughts?
This is a necessary evil, it sounds like, I mean, we gotta do it.
Just wanna hear your thoughts, that's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Brian, you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the plan that we tried to do was a bit of a Hail Mary, right? If that worked, that would have been amazing. Didn't work, not surprising, honestly.
You have to
in
find the
hindsight.
right person
It
that
happens
was
to work
looking
that
for a
crazy
job.
ass schedule, yeah.
That's
but
looking for
it's
a
a need we
part-time
have, so
job.
we gotta do it.
With no benefits.
That works
From
random days.
Yeah, when we
In the middle
first
of the
did
night.
this, we all agreed, we're gonna look at this, see if we can
Well,
find.
we all didn't agree.
I appreciate that you looked at it.
We all did not agree.
You didn't agree?
She didn't agree, cause you
I
wanna know
wanted a
what,
full-time.
she wanted a
I said-
full-time out the gate.
I said, you're not gonna find a
Okay,
part-time
we-
person.
So
I
we
said
were
it
all wrong
over and over.
except for Brianna.
Let the record
Is
show.
that how I should put this?
No, but seriously, we thought we'd,
Yeah,
do
no,
the
it
Hail
was good.
Mary,
It was a
see
good
if it
try. We
worked.
gave it a try.
John has tried. We
It's
can't
a
find
tough spot to fill, a midnight and a part-time, like you said, and then to not have somebody be able to be like 2 on, 1 on, 3 on, and that's
It's a
just
brutal
tough.
schedule.
Yes, and you're working
I know.
midnights. It's brutal to begin with.
And no benefits.
And at the end of the day, yes, and at the end of the day, you have to have 2.
Mhm.
So it just doesn't work.
John, your thoughts?
I'm fine.
I would like to just applaud you for trying the
Yeah,
part-time.
no.
And that's what we need departments to work with us. and
100%.
To try something that maybe has put you out of a little bit of a comfort zone, but to try it.
Yeah.
And now you've tried it, and then we found we need it, so.
If we had like a couple days every week, the same day that somebody could plan, we probably could have gotten somebody that was full-time
We
public
tried.
safety somewhere else, but it doesn't line up.
No, you did your best, you tried, and we tried to have a cost savings, and this is a real cost. I mean, Les said it right. This
Yeah.
is a real
It
cost.
is.
Right.
It's-
So, from our
Necessary
side,
And I'd be immediately suspect if you did find somebody.
Yeah.
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 Well, and I think it's hard to keep somebody when it's part-time too.
so,
Yeah.
Incredibly.
I mean,
So
you,
how long would they have been here for anyway? But I do applaud, you
They
worked
would walk
really
it like-
hard to try to make it work.
Danbury will pick him up for a daytime job,
Yeah, no.
even if it's part-time. they say,
You worked harder than you had to make it, try to work, so I always.
so you
appreciate
gotta
that.
run it through the process,
Yeah.
Steve. But you
Yeah.
see, obviously, see,
We
I
will
don't
do
think
that.
Naheed is gonna,
I can
change
assure you,
this.
just let's start, let's complete. I know you have a couple people who you could talk to. If we have to, we'll have a special Board of Selectmen meeting and approve that. I think it just should go through the Board of Selectmen when we're adding somebody. I don't think it technically has to, I can approve that, but I just like to cover all my
I
bases.
know, go ahead. Works, just come to us with the end, and we'll just do the budget, whatever we gotta do, move,
Yeah.
right? It becomes a transfer from.
So you guys are all comfortable with that?
Yeah, like I say, Naheed, I don't see Naheed saying, I'm speaking for, but I don't see her do it changing on that, so. All right, we're good. Chief, go home, please. Not throwing you out, you can stay, but if you wanna go home, get home.
No one ever wants to stay at our meetings.
I know, I mean, I don't know why, it's so
Thank you,
much
Chief.
fun here.
Marcia, it's your,
All
you're
right.
actually Board of Ed first.
Oh, yeah, they're not.
Caroline wanted to be here to present to us. She is now the chairman of the Finance Committee for the BOE, but she's out on a business and she's in other meetings tonight as well. But she's gonna start coming the following. She really seems switched on. I've spoken to her. I think she'll be an asset to our team even, with some of what she'll bring. So I look forward to having her come. So go ahead, Marcia.
All right, and they're thinking they're on target, that's the Board of Ed, there's the
That's what
summary.
you're saying.
All right,
Thanks, Chief.
so for, the finance report that, the revenues are, approximately 250 and over budget, and it's that two up there. Last month, and they went to 195 over budget this month. I guess I missed the 9 is what I missed. So it went down by about 20,000, and the big thing is planning and zoning fees are not coming in as good as they had been. There are a lot of small ones, but they're just slowed down. And so I talked to the department head there, and she said that it seems to be the moratorium that is affecting it, that, which makes a lot of sense. So we're expecting planning and zoning will not hit the budget for the routine fees. There were some small changes. FEMA gave us a little extra money. Interest income is a little, $5,000 better than we thought last month. Supplemental motor vehicle taxes, the final numbers are in. If we use what was projected times the collection rate last year, we'll probably be about 50,000 over budget in revenue. But that collection rate fluctuates, so I didn't want to put that in above and to start counting on that. I am going to ask you to make a motion on a transfer, consider a motion on a transfer, that we don't always do the revenues, but I think it's good to show transparency of what you were thinking at the time. That these are little numbers, but let's say we got an extra $1 million in that we weren't expecting, and then we did an additional appropriation for $1 million. Years later, someone could look back and say, what the heck are they doing? But we knew at the time we were getting the extra money. It's only 9,000, unfortunately. But I wanted to add senior center revenue, that they're looking for 5,000 more for program expenses, and they expect to make that up with revenue. So it's a net wash. So we add 5,000 to the top, and later we'll add 5,000 to the bottom. And then the zoning compliance fee, we talked about that last month, that we received about 50,000, and I thought the expenses were about 6, but they only were 4 over the last 3 years. So we'll add that in as revenue from the person cutting down the trees, and add it to the legal budget. Any questions on?
That's just a housekeeping.
Just a housekeeping. The next one is expenditures, that legal fees that we have, the 4,000 we just talked about, we'd like to add to legal fees, but we're gonna need another 24,000 for legal fees. That, and legal fees are a tough one, because we do purchase orders with legal fees, so we know each one of the cases that are out there, and we get an estimate each month from the attorneys, which they hate to do, of how much more do you think it might cost us? And, you know, they bill by the hour, so they don't really know, but it helps us get a good idea that this is a $1,500 case or a $15,000 case.
If, may I interrupt, if you guys, I can discuss this in greater detail, particularly on the FOI, if you want to go into executive session, perhaps at the end of the meeting, and take 10 minutes.
Okay.
There's confidentiality issues there that we can't.
And that's in the notes in the FOI there?
And there's a few more notes. The property liability insurance, that was me. I took what we usually divide the bill like 60-40 with the Board of Ed, and I had forgotten the Board of Ed got a big bill for CLES last year that they paid 100%, and so this year when it was on the regular premium, I just needed a little bit more. Senior center programs, we talked about that. Grounds overtime, the numbers are similar to the prior years of how much we had thought if we hired a new grounds person that we would save some on overtime, but that is not really the case. That we're pretty consistent with prior years. That the grounds continuously takes on more responsibilities. That for picking up trash at the schools, for more banners. downtown for the farmer's market. So that's part of what that is. And grounds equipment maintenance, she needed 10,000 more. We talked about the Bobcat repairs. She's taking 3,500 out of her budget, and then the other 6,500 she needs to take from another department. The other departments would be finance union wages. We had hired a new payroll clerk, and she didn't start July 1st, so we had some savings. Tax collectors, part-time clerk, same issue. Workers' comp, we had some savings there. It didn't go up the full 3% that we thought. And then hydrants, February 1st each year, they give us a letter of what they're asking for rates, and we budget to that letter, because that's what they're going to the state with, and they didn't get those rates. They were gonna try and increase them to 414, and they're still down at 187.
But for the previous 9 years, they have approved those increases, so our budget was correct. This is the first year they haven't approved it, so that's a good thing for us.
So,
what are we paying for?
fire hydrants
They have to go
that,
open up every single fire hydrant, make sure the water flows out, close the fire hydrant, and they charge us something like $1,100 per
Aquarium.
hydrant to do
Aquarium does
that. It's egregious how much they charge.
We have, I think we have
So you use all
114, 154, we have a lot of fire hydrants. And then there's also something where they charge us, it's in your budget workbooks, where they charge us per foot. But I discussed this with Ralph, and we're both comfortable that that's where we're going. So it's 9,172 and more expenditures than but it's offset by the
And revenues.
9,172 in revenue. This one I just showed separately, the highway wage adjustments, that we had the union contract, we had money in contingency, and we want to move it out of contingency. All of this is for highway wages. The highway, the new
So that's
high-
a separate motion we have to make on that?
you can make them in the same motion, I just wanted to show the effect separate so you could see that, what that total was comprised of. Board of Selectmen made it all in one motion.
Really? So how'd they do that?
And then, because it's all in one column on the financial statements,
All right.
that's how they did that. The capital non-recurring fund, there was a AC issue for electricity in the server room we want to add more money to, and then we want to close out a number of projects. And then we had added money earlier this year for a town hall master plan for phase 2 in like September, October. And then in November, or October, November, the next month, they said, no, they want the full plan in there, or the 40% level, or whatever, however Greg describes it. And so we put the 115 out, and I should have subtracted the first 16 that we put in there. So that was double accounted for, I'm taking that out. I do think that we'll have $60,000 or so more that we can take out the next quarter, but they were just so close to being done and they weren't ready for me to take it in
So
December.
can I jump in on that?
Sure.
So for the town hall master plan, because we are so able to so quickly fund it to get up to the minimum they wanted, a lot of towns couldn't do it. There were less towns competing for that money, and we won. So it was a really smart decision to do that, because they're really competitive. You know, for $1 million worth of grants, they'll have $4 million in requests. But towns couldn't react as quickly as we did.
And we did get the 1.2
We did win the
million
grant.
That's great. It's a really nice plan.
It's a win.
And then for bonded capital, the backhoe with the mini excavator, that's the most that Ralph has ever given us back. And the project's done and under budget. The Parks Department, the upper garage addition, there were some issues that we thought we were just gonna put in a concrete floor, but then it's got
That would have been
wood
a
poles.
$117,000 Band-Aid,
Oh,
and the building is in much worse condition than we thought.
Where is
And-
this?
Up by the high school, the building on the right as you go into the tennis courts, right?
All right,
There's
all right.
that steel building. So we're re-looking at that, and we'll be coming back to the boards to say this is what we wanna do. It doesn't pay to do $120,000 Band-Aid.
And the question is, do we close it or do we just save it and just add to it? But because of the timing, or the charter says it's gotta be active for 3 years, bonding rules say the 3 years, we're asking to close it.
Does that make sense to you, Brian?
I don't remember seeing an alternative.
She hasn't put it in
No,
yet.
they haven't put it, that's coming down, it sounds like.
I don't know, it might be in the 10-year plan, not
I'm not seeing the tenure plan's my point.
Oh.
Maybe it is, maybe I just can't see it.
it's not in this year, I do know that.
No, I got that, but it should be in the tenure plan.
We'll double check, make sure it goes in. We don't have a good number yet,
Oh.
but we'll put a placeholder in there.
And she may have, I just,
Brian loves placeholders.
yeah.
In the out years, way out years.
Our audit was filed on December 13th with the state of Connecticut. In 2025, only 76 of 170 municipalities got their audits in on time. And that is the highest number it's been in the last 5 years. 1 year it was only 51 of the towns, so less than a third got them in on time. And other than 1 year, we've gotten it in on time every year for the last 8 years. And then some still don't have their 2024 audits in yet, but name any names.
Not our town.
Not our town.
Not our town.
Nope. And
Marcia sits on a board that helps towns that are in distress, and she could tell you some stories that would curl,
yeah.
well, who's got curly hair? Would curl your hair, curl mine at least.
And this came, actually, the data came from that board. So I just wanted, it's not common to get your audits in on time. The budget for next year, the department budgets, our workbooks are due to us on Friday. The capital committee will wrap up next week. The grand list is due February 1st. The tri-board meeting is tentatively scheduled for February 4th. First Selectmen's budget is due February 15th. Board of Selectmen's budget is due March 2nd. And Board of Finance, it depends on the town meeting, but it's probably around March 20th. And then we sit and wait and do nothing for 6 weeks.
That's crazy.
So on that subject, the registrars, we've gone back and forth with legal, the registrars, right now, we could ask the schools to vote at the schools on the Tuesday the 20th. The problem we have is they could probably work that out if we insisted, but if the budget fails, law requires we have a vote within 2 weeks at the same location. So the registrars are thinking that they will move the voting to the senior center for the entire town. And they are also thinking of moving it to a Saturday, which we could do. Just
And
putting that decision is not final,
Okay.
but that's a discussion that is being held.
it would have significant savings.
It would have a lot of savings if we had one location.
Okay.
We'd save like,
I
I think
have so many
$12,000.
How are you gonna handle the traffic?
I was just about to say
here?
that.
We
I
have
have
2
some-
entrances at the high school, 3 entrances at the high school that you
Yeah,
can use.
we typically in a referendum, we'll get 3,500 to 4,000 people voting. Nowhere near what a presidential is,
No.
right? It's a much lower number. We're looking at those, this is not written in
Okay.
stone, but I am very reluctant to use the schools now, given their concerns. And if the budget, God forbid, goes down, they cannot react in 2 weeks to closing school.
Can you just split it up between like St. Marguerite's and the senior center?
What are you gonna do if people already don't even know when to vote sometimes
Yeah.
anymore? So we don't even get out the ring. Now, people that you finally get them to go vote, and they show up at the high school because they don't think it is, they're not gonna
Right.
vote. So now you're gonna deter how many votes people, I ain't going to the freaking down there, I
Right.
came here,
There
I don't
would
have
be-
time to
Wait,
go down
There
there.
would be
Wait.
an education plan to get the residents. Well,
You do that E-code thing?
But there's a lot of people that don't even know
Whatever
what
that
the town
red alert
budget
Yeah,
vote
we
program
would
is.
send it out. In fact, I think we would do, postcard mailer to all residents. But my feeling is that people who wanna vote in a referendum, vote in a referendum.
But they've never voted on a Saturday.
No, they have not.
That
Nor
would be my
count-
concern.
A lot of towns do vote on Saturdays.
The guy rushing home from work, or the late woman rushing home from work, got dinner on the table, shows up at the high school, and I got meetings to go to. I'm not going to the municipal center to go vote. I
Well,
gotta
it's
get
on a
home, I
Saturday,
got
it's
things to
on a
do.
Saturday.
It's a
But if it's on
problem.
Saturday.
That we're talking about.
We
I'm
have-
talking on, but a
Just for
different
the
place.
referendum?
Yeah, a final decision has not been made. I just, this
No,
is,
no, I
I want it
appreciate
out there
the
so
heads
people can
up.
talk about it and
They asked to
understand.
use our church for it.
Yeah, maybe we could use your church. That would be good. You have a nice
Well,
big parking lot.
Yeah,
All right.
Maybe we can go to
we haven't
congregation.
decided on that yet.
One location would save about $12,000.
Yeah,
But
but what, you know, sometimes.
there are pluses and minuses to all of these things, and we just have to weigh them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any questions? So I can run through these motions, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion for the general fund operation budget revenue. I'll make a motion to approve the proposed additions to the year-end 2026 revenue report as shown to us on the report. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We heard her talk about any discussions on this. That was housekeeping, $9,000. All in favor? Aye. Okay, I'd like to make a motion for interdepartment transfer to approve the interdepartment transfers for year-end 2026 as noted on the budget versus actual report that Marcia showed us. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Perfect. Any more discussion? I think we walked through that too. All in favor? Aye. I'd like to make a motion on the capital non-reoccurring fund to approve the transfers between projects on the capital non-reoccurring fund for year-end 2026 as shown on the report and as Marcia walked us through it. Do I have a second as well? I think again, discussions we had, all in favor? Aye. And item 4, the bonded capitals projects fund, I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed transfers between projects and the bonded capital projects as shown on the report for the year-end 2026 as provided to us by Marcia. Do I have a second?
Richard, also.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye. Thanks, Marcia. Appreciate it.
A lot of work, Marcia.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was like, awesome. Not gonna lie. Audit, we're good. Brian, you wanna talk about your committee? Capital
Yeah,
Committee?
real quick, so there's 3 of the members on here, so we've been through all the major departments, functions, whatever you wanna call them, already, and Tuesday, we have some of the smaller ones, really just kind of the general government ones, and then we're gonna try to stay maybe a little later and put our recommendation together for both the current year budget and the 10-year. What's been good is we did the 10-year late last year, right, so we did it in June, July, so there's not dramatic changes all over the place, so we were able to, you know, kind of get right into it. Just so you know, the 10-year capital plan is around $7 million a year, $7 million, right? So, for like to like, we've added $5 million, but it was the things that we knew were kind of missing, but we didn't know for the most part. A couple of, the roofs came in more expensive, right, but other than that, so it's pretty straightforward, the changes, and the process is working pretty well. But we'll see as we can come to a good recommendation on Tuesday. And then we can schedule that earlier in the budget cycle if you want to review it. So I think it's a good foundation as we start looking at other things to know what we got going there.
Yep.
Maybe to add?
I'd like to thank you all and your team for doing the heavy lifting on this. It's
Yeah.
nice to have someone taking the time to go through this with a finer tooth comb and then presenting it to us as a group. So we're not going fresh off of anything. So I really, from my point of view, I appreciate the time and the effort because it helps the whole process streamline. And it'll absolutely help the budget process. I mean,
And it
Steve,
cuts down the amount of time both the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance have to spend going through every department, every capital project, because
Do you
we
remember
already
that
have an
before
incredibly
committee
solid
was
base from which to work.
exactly. So I think this is a real help to all of
Okay,
us.
Yeah, before the
And it's
committee-
appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Before the
probably
committee.
3 or 4, you know, potential big decisions to be made if we have to, you know, if the budget doesn't pass, or we have too much, or we have a little extra, you know, 3 or 4 big things. One of the things that I want to do, or we want to do, is we talked several months ago about bringing in a small set of projects and get going on them quick, because we had some excess money that we put away this year. It wasn't from this year's overage, it was from last year's overage,
Right.
right? It was around $300,000. So, our intent is, coming out of this meeting, is to provide that list. I think it's gonna be 4, 5, 6 items that we should get going on immediately and not wait to put them into the budget, because we have that money.
We
reserved.
talked
Makes a
about
lot of
this,
sense.
so we just need guidance.
Yeah, so we're
That's
gonna make a recommendation, hopefully as a committee, that these are the ones we should do right now. And it's mostly like air conditioning type things, where if we can get it going now, they'll be in place by the time it starts to get warm, stuff like that.
I think that
Would the
you
roof
oversee.
fall under that? That
No,
small,
no, we have a little bit
that
of-
small bit of the roof that needs to be done by the summer
Oh, the
library?
library?
The library's already got the money. That's-
I know.
We don't need more money, we need someone to do it. So, yeah, but that was paid for 2 years ago.
But that, what you had talked about earlier about planning and zoning, we've got 50,000 in there for that, and if it's gotta be done July 1st, that should be added to our list.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we're waiting
yeah.
on the NBC for that?
What's that?
We're waiting on.
That's for the roof. Well, yeah, Steve just said at the beginning that you have an ad hoc, they have an ad hoc
Yeah.
committee to select the
The
architect,
engineering
the engineering
architect,
firm, and then the NDC will take over.
Right,
So-
so we're gonna do that in the
That's
next,
good,
within the next 5 days.
good, yeah, because that can
Okay.
accelerate, you know,
Yeah.
the BOE reps were kind of saying we're losing our opportunity to get these roofs done over the summer. If there's anything we can do to accelerate that, it would be
That will
great for
move
the.
forward, and if the architects can get the design done,
Yeah,
maybe
so
we
we'll-
can
You'd think it's
go out
not
to
the most
bid and
complex work.
get it done this summer,
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
engineering work.
Yeah, so
Okay.
just, when you present it,
We'll
we'll
do
go
it.
through it, but I think, yeah, just give us
Leave it when I
guidance.
see
Yep.
it.
Because we've already talked about utilizing that money,
Yeah.
so that's like
Yeah.
no surprise, it's just a matter of where we're gonna utilize
Yep.
it, so we're all on the same page. Perfect. All right, other items to come for the board, I'll move that we move into executive session to discuss legal fees. Do I have a second? I'm gonna invite John Lucas as well and Marcia to the executive meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. All right, Marcia, take.
Ike, you are on.
Okay, we've returned from executive session. Now I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our regular scheduled meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.